Hello YouTube. Okay, we're just gonna do a quick little video because of a few reasons. One, the new Wandering Sword patch is gonna come soon. I don't think they've come with an exact date, but it's gonna come soon, and more people are coming in, and maybe a whole bunch of people are gonna get back into the game. And also, I've been monitoring the Discord for Wandering Sword. And there's a lot of people, kind of newish players, that talk about builds for characters, what cultivation methods are good, which characters are the best, companions. And there was a question that was like, which companions are worth using? And the answer is anyone you like, really. Unless you're really trying to min-max and you're like, well, this fist user is the best because he's got the best skill set, and so I'm not going to use any other fist user because then I want to have a saber user and a sword user. Like, unless you're doing all that nonsense, right? But the truth is, you can get to the end game with all your characters or just the main character, really. So don't worry about, well, am I, optimizing and having the best character in my lineup? Don't worry about that. But one of the things I think will help you choose who you play and how you build them, because like, let's say you really like using this guy, right? Li Wanxing, I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, let's say you like him and you think he's cool. It's like, okay, well, how do I build him, right? I have not built him at all, right? And there's all these cultivation methods he doesn't even know, and it's anyway. So the point is, of this video is going to help people learn how to build a character, okay? And we're just going to go off like some basics, right? You got your RPG stats like your HP, your mana, right? Stamina is used for stuff outside of battle. Like, let's say I wanted to learn, this. Let me find a good one, right? Let's say I wanted to learn Rain of Flowers, right? Because I didn't know it yet. I would need to be friendly with her with, this, and I would have to have 60 stamina in my bar, and then we do a little fight. So stamina is only really important for the main character. Everyone else's stamina doesn't really matter, but it is what it is, right? Strength gives you bonuses to your attack and your crit, okay? Constitution is your defense and your HP total. Agility is your movement. 100 points of agility gives you an extra movement tile, okay? So let's find somebody who's got low agility right now. All my characters are cracked right now. Let me find. Yeah, he's got 109 agility, right? And so, like, he only gets to move 5 tiles. But my main character, right, he gets to move 8 because of more stuff to give him extra movement than just, agility. But every 100 points will give you 1 movement tile. That's pretty cool. And then internal power affects your mana bar and your chi gathering speed. I don't necessarily know what the formula is for how much chi gathering you get, but chi gathering is a very important resource. So when your yellow bar in battle gets full, you get to take a move, okay? And your chi gathering determines that bar and how fast it fills up. Right now, I'm at 1,000 chi gathering without any buffs or anything. This is just how he naturally is. And he'll take an action every 1 second. Let's find somebody, yeah, and 1.39 because she's got 700, right? And when you're in turn-based mode, time stops and you get to choose your move. If you're in real-time mode, you can like move around and do stuff every 1 second, right? But anyway, so you want high chi gathering. That's really important, so you get to do your stuff before the enemy, okay? And capping out at 1,000, that's the cap. You could have all sorts of buffs to your chi gathering speed and whatever, but you won't ever go above 1,000, all right? Now, you might want to have the buffs on anyway, because the enemy will do debuffs like Enervate to kind of reduce your chi gathering, but whatever, 1,000 is your cap, all right? And if you're playing on Extreme, it's pretty important to hit the chi gathering cap, so you can actually do things to the enemy, because a lot of the enemies will be at that 1,000 cap in Extreme. But in Hard and Below, It's still important, right? Because you get to do your moves and your things, but it's not like, it's not so important that that's like the first thing you max. Although you could, right? Make it a bit easier for yourself. It's not like you'll suffer and die if you don't do it. Okay. Attack, right? Pretty strong. That's how more attack, more damage. Crit, it's a chance to deal a bonus 150% damage. I believe there are some moves that increase your crit damage, right? So it's like increase your crit damage by like an extra 15%. So now it's 165% instead of 150, right? But yeah, this is your chance. Where's my boy? He's got passively 82% crit, right? That's without crit buffs to his chance, right? And like evasion, right? Avoid damage. And another character, right? It says 43.64, but with all of her items and equipment, she can get to 100%. She gets a unique sword, which is pretty cool, which helps her get evasion. She also gets a lightness skill called Mistveil Wave Dance, which increases her evasion by 25% when she activates it. And it's pretty easy to get to 100% evasion. Now you can do it without these things, but it's more difficult. And like defense, right? Block damage. So yeah, this is like RPG stuff. Most of it's kind of self-explanatory, but Chi Gathering is kind of unique to this, right? I haven't really seen it. Well, it's kind of like an ATP or action bar, right? That's basically what it is. It's just called Chi. Makes it sound more unique. But yeah. So important stats, right? Chi, attack, hit points, defense. Now, see this stuff? Your power level, right? Novice, beginner, all that stuff all the way to unrivaled. So that's your relative power compared to other NPCs in this game. And the game will calculate that based off of your hit points and your mana. So, like I'm unrivaled, I've got, over 12k in each stat. That's pretty cool. Let's find somebody who's not, somebody I haven't really used. Yeah, right. 3k and 2k, but he's outstanding, right? So like there's a huge gulf, even though like the tiers are like, there's just 3 tiers separating us. It's huge, power level. And if you want to, let's see, let's find a good, so like, let's say I want to gift him. Oh wait, I can't gift him. Right, so I wanted to gift her, right? And gift her a thing so that she becomes more friendly with me, right? If she's more powerful than me by like 2 stages, right? So let's say I was an apprentice and she was an expert. I wouldn't be able to gift her because the power levels are too strong. And that's to stop you from engaging with somebody way too strong. Because like, let's say you're still in the early game and you want to fight the Shaolin Master, right? And he's either supreme, right? On like the easier difficulties, but he's unrivaled on, I think, hard and expert. But you're just a master at that point, right? So you won't be able to gift him to get friendly enough to spar and then try and get the Zen Demon subduing spell. No, not Zen Demon. Muscle changing scripture. Yeah, that's really good, right? Because it's a huge heal and it cleanses debuffs and it gives you the extra life. That's pretty nice. But I think 2 characters in the Shaolin Temple have it, so, but they're all pretty strong. So before you can get it, so the point is, this is an important thing to worry about early on when you're trying to like hunt down characters and learn their techniques. And that is based off of your hit point and your mana. So if you take stuff like here to increase your hit points and your mana, right? This increases your constitution. Okay, that'll increase your hit points. Right. Constitution is hit points and defense. And also, when it comes to these trees, I'll talk about these in a second, but like that's 2 points of constitution, but that's like 30 hit points. The 2 points of constitution I think are better because it gives you both defense and hit points, and that's more effective HP than just the 30 hit points. Just a little side note. But anyway, so we've got all this stuff. Notice how like gear, right? Extra attack, extra crit, extra defense, hit points. So like gear also has a hierarchy. Let's go to the gear screen. See these colors, right? We've got the name in red, we've got the name in orange, right? And then the background blue. So those are like your rarity levels. So see how this is like, let me find a good example. Right, so see how this one is in green and this one's in blue, but they're the same item, right? They're both the same class, but they're different rarities, right? The blue level rarity has costs more than the green one, and it gives you more stats. So you want stuff with red rarity because that's mythic, that's the best. Then orange is like legendary, right? And so that's a little bit lower than that. And then I think it's yellow, then blue, then green, and then like white and gray. I don't have any of that stuff, but yeah. So when you look at an item, stuff that'll naturally appear in the world will be like blue, maybe yellow rarity, right? But stuff that you craft can be orange and red. So crafting actually makes sense, right? If you want to do tailoring, that'll give you armor. Forging will give you weapons, right? So let's say you get your pattern. How do I, where's the screen for that? I think it's this one. Yeah. So it's like I've got blueprints for all sorts of different right, yeah, this is the tier 1 boots, right? I need level 9 tailoring, all this stuff, right? I get to make it. And 100% chance it's a red item because I crafted it. And it's gonna come with stats, like better stats. So this is what it would naturally come if it was like a drop in the world, right? Defense and some evasion, extra effects. It could give you extra defense, extra evasion. And like a boots also gives you like the special stuff to make you move around the world map, which is pretty nice, right? Accessories give you stuff like you recover your chi when you get hit by a crit, or it helps you gain martial points or coins, right? But it'll give you these stats all the time. These are like a bonus if you forge it, right? And so forged stuff will always become better than stuff that gets dropped. So there's instances in the game where, like, let's say I can craft a tier 5. I get a tier I would get a drop on this headband, but it's worse than this one that I made. Because we get the bonus stats, right? Because like let's say there's the mana and the hit points. This just gives us the mana and hit points, but this one gives us bonus hit points and bonus mana, so it's even greater than this. And it gives us some of the end of the turn recoveries. So, you know, forging your own gear and tailoring your own armor, that's a whole lot better than just the drops. Okay, so typically what I'll do is I'll get my stuff and I'll like farm at like a humanoid enemy, like a pirate or a bandit or something, get all of the weapons and items, just sell them to the store, and then get whatever drop that I need, like coal or whatever, and just forge, and I'll use that stuff. Now some of the stuff is like unique weapons and items you get from quests, right? The Xuanwu robe comes from the Regalia quest at the Wudang sect, right? You need to master the different Tai Chis that the Wudang teaches you, and you go to the Forbidden Area and you do a thing and you get an awesome diagram here, right? All these great stats. This robe, great stats, and it reflects 10% damage. That's great. And the enemies lose bonus accuracy from attacking you from the back, and you're immune to bonus damage taken from the sides and the back. And that's huge, because especially on extreme mode, people will run behind you and attack you from the back to get those bonuses. In the earlier difficulties, I think they might do it on hard. It's been a while, but on the easier difficulties, they won't bother with that. Let's see. And where is it? Oh yeah, and then this is the sword that you get, right? So it helps you use your Wudang stuff. Now with this run, I had fist build, and so we used the sword, and I messed up on the side quest to get the bonus tier 1 weapons. So right, he's stuck with a tier 2 fist weapon instead of, you know, a tier 1, but that's whatever. I can still beat the final boss. But anyway, so like your gear here, also I can make better boots, can't I? Yeah. I just I haven't bothered. That's whatever. What do I go to next? What we'll talk about next? We talked about basic stats, abilities, affinities. Okay, so weapon mastery, very, very important. So you know how I said I'm a fist weapon user, right? So the higher this number is, the more damage my fist techniques will do. But it will also increase the defense when I get hit with a fist attack. So if I'm fighting somebody using fist techniques, right, I'm going to be taking less damage because I've got 620, right? Now my hidden weapon mastery is only 255. So if somebody's using a hidden weapon on me, I'll be taking a bit more damage than if they had used a fist, right? And so if you think, well, hey, I'm just going to use fists, I'm not going to bother learning any of the other techniques or leveling them up or whatever. Well, it's like, okay, yeah, but you're not going to be getting this bonus stuff. And all of your other companions, right, they get just their preferred weapon type, right? This guy, he only gets to learn pole arms, right? I can't increase his hidden weapon or his fist mastery, but I can do that for the main character and for Frosty Condor. She gets 2. She gets hidden weapons and fists. But the point is, like, learn these techniques from like the NPCs, from the books, and just max them out and get extra levels in them to increase your weapon mastery, and that will increase your defense, right? Oh, I can, there we go. Yeah, see, I don't have maxes, but so like that's another way to make yourself more powerful, right? You learn other techniques and you level it up. And so let's go talk about the actual moves, right? So martial arts deployment and learn martial arts. So this is my pool of normal moves, and then of like everything that I know. But when I go into battle, I only select from these 4. Okay. And so if there are like active abilities, like okay, so yeah, this level 5 effect, right, which I get because I'm at max level, increased damage of all the cult fist weapon techniques by 7%. So that would be the palm strike here. That would be, I think, the, oh, I don't have it on this character, but it's like the blazing palm that the boss uses. And I think there's other stuff, but I don't really use that. Okay. But the point is, if I use a cult technique, right, even if it isn't the normal one, right, if I have it equipped, even if I'm not in the first spot, as long as it's in these top 4, I'll get bonus damage, right? And so yeah, I've got the Wudang Long Fist equipped, and I've got the soft palm strike. So soft palm is more powerful because this just passively increases their damage by 10%. Even if I don't ever use it in battle, it doesn't matter. It's on my hotbar, right? And so you want to look at things that have like bonus effects to help your hotbar. And so see how it says increases fist weapon mastery by 25 and strength by 10 all the way down where on that level 10 effect. Just by having Proud Dragon Repents in my hotbar, I get those bonuses. Bonus fist weapon mastery, that's great, and 10 extra strength points. That's amazing. I don't even have to use this, I just have to have it in my hotbar. Tai Chi, increased fist weapon mastery, right? Soaring Dragon, bonus fist weapon mastery and strength by 10, right? These are great like stats. Now, something very important, these stats I get even if I switch to a different weapon. So let's say I switch to a sword, right? And I get all this stuff now. I still retain the bonus strength and the fist weapon mastery from these deployed. That's crazy. Now, if I unequip them, I don't get it, right? But if it's deployed, I get it. Yeah, okay. And whenever you level up a technique, like if it's red, each point will give me an extra 3.1 in fist weapon mastery. So at level 10, extra 31 points. That's great, you know? Orange gives you a little bit less because this are also the rarities, right? Mythic, legendary, I forget what the yellow is, but you get what I'm saying, right? I think white and gray are the worst, right? And then it's green, blue, yellow, orange, and then red, right? So like I'm gonna get 0.3 of a, you know, yeah, a 0.3 of a point for each one on the white. Okay. And so when it comes to lightness skills, they increase your character's stamina, and each level will increase so like whenever you use a lightness skill, you get a refresh on your chi. Okay, and that refresh gets bigger the higher level your lightness skill is. So if your skill is level 1, you get 5%, right? But if it's at 10, you get a 50% refresh, and that's pretty cool, right? So it doesn't feel like you're wasting your move when you do a lightness skill to buff yourself, right? So like, let's say I wanted to do the cloud cap leap, and I leap behind the enemy, right? And it's awesome and cool, but you know, I didn't attack them, but I refreshed my bar by 50%, right? And I get the other stuff like ignoring, you know, zone of control and getting the bonus agility. And this one here, right? A stat increase of 20. If I have it unequipped, I don't have that bonus 20. But if I have it in my hotbar here, right? Even if I never use cloud capped leap in battle, I get that passive 20 agility boost. Okay. So it is actually worth it to teach companions the lightness skills. I've got my books. I'll go to the books, sort it by type, right? Teach them as many of the green books as like you can. And so like a Wudang lightness skill, you can teach that to everybody and give everybody a bonus 5 agility. Like that's crazy. It's not like you have to max it out because it's not like they need the stamina, and you, unless you're actively using it for the 50% refresh, right? Just put 5 points into it for your companion and they get nice 5 agility, right? And then kind of replace it with swan steps later if you can, right? Because then they get the bonus move and the agility, right? This is why my boy's got 8 movement, right? Because he gets, you know, 2 from his agility and 1 from his swan steps. Like, and I think he gets another 1 from something else. I think there's some other ability, but yeah, he gets to run all over the place. And so like when you're thinking about these builds, think like read what it gives you and see if it's like a passive thing or if it's an active thing, right? So let's go to okay, right. So let's say this Dragonish Palm Strike right here, right? So use effects. Increase attack by 25% and crit rate by 10% for 3 turns. That's a great offensive buff, right? 25% attack increase, thank you, right? But I have to use my ability first. So we enter the battle, I punch somebody with my Dragon Palm, right? Now I get the buff of 25% attack boost and a 10% crit rate boost, right? So the next time I attack, I'm stronger, right? Which is different than like the passives I was talking about earlier, where it was, you know, like this one, I just get a passive 10 strength and 25 fist weapon mastery. I have to actually use my ability. Okay? And so try and find common abilities with powerful buffs that you want to use in your fight, right? And you can build yourself kind of like a lone wolf and then, not really care about what all your friends have and whatever, or you can kind of work together. And I'll talk about that in a second. But we're going to move on to the cultivation methods, and then we'll go on to builds with synergies, right? So like you're going to get this as part of the story, so don't worry about that. And it's probably the best one just with how stacked it is. And I think the devs basically made it so that if you equip this, most of your builds will be able to take on the final boss, right? Infinite Force Symbols is really good too. You learn it from the Wudang Masters, but there's no like manual for it. So it's not like, you can teach this guy, right? He'd be cracked with it. But anyway, Evergreen Vitality, you get that from doing the Nanjing DLC route. And like it's at the end and you've got to do the statue fight, and it's like a great like challenge to get, but once you do, right, it's great. You get like all these passives, and like just you can read all these words on the screen, but basically it gives you a buff every turn, and that buff gives you like damage reduction, so you become tankier as the fight goes on. And when you use it, you get stacks of it. Now, the stacks cap out at 8, but damage reduction is 2% up to 8 stacks. So that's a 16% damage reduction. That's great, right? And then when your hit points are less than 30%, it cleanses all the stacks off and then heals you for 2%. So you get a 16% heal. So like when you fight the characters with Evergreen Vitality, you have to have a huge amount of burst, because you have to get them down to that 30% they're going to heal, and then you have to burst them down before they can get their stacks back up, and they're going to use their ability to get 3 stacks, and then it's just so if you're having trouble on like extreme fighting the Perpetual Sanctum, like you need to find a way to burst them down, right? You need to get more burst. That's usually the way it is, right? And like Cloud Form Touch, so like all these are like special stuff, right? And like there's all this stuff. Let's find something that everybody on your team can learn. Where is it? Is there a manual for Zen Demon? I think there is. Tai Chi, Formless Melody. Yeah, there is. So yeah, Zen Demon. So just having it equipped, so at level 10, it'll increase your strength by 20, which is great. And then if you use it, it'll increase your damage by Shaolin Temple stuff. So like the polearm techniques or the fist techniques, right? And you get a 25% attack and defense increase for 4 turns. And that's great, right? Everybody can learn it. And so it's like, even if you don't necessarily use it because you feel like, let's find somebody. Yeah, right. I've got Zen Demon on Scorpion Envoy, right? I could, make this better if I was trying, probably, but like I'll probably use Illusion Goo to heal myself, or Heavenly Silkworm Method to get more like damage resistance, right? I'll probably remove this with something else, but just having the Zen Demon there to increase the character strength by 20, that's huge just by having it passively. Yoga Sutra is also another good one to just passively have, because you don't have to use it, but you get the increased hit point and mana recovery by 15%, and it restores 100 hit points and 100 mana every turn, and those stack. So like you're getting 115, and it seems kind of low, but also you can get the end of turns hit point and mana recoveries from your head slot armor, so that will also stack. right? So like this is just like this is like a passive you can do, right? So if you feel like so like typically when I do a build, I'll have like 1 or 2 cultivation methods that I'll always use, and then the rest will have like a passive that I really like, right? Evergreen Vitality has a passive I really like. Infinite Force Symbols is like an active that I always want to use. Wind and Cloud active that I always want to use. Cloudform Tai Chi has a passive that I love, right? And let's go, right? Passive that I love, passive that I love, passive, maybe an active, active that I love, right? And so it's like that's my method. You know, maybe there's better ones, but this is typically how I do it, right? Because it's very rarely that you use all 4 different types in the same battle, right? So having a couple passives that are very strong, you know, you get more value out of your cultivation methods. Okay, and so this Star Absorption Force is also, I think, one of like the top 5 cultivation methods, right? Some people are saying it's the number 1, but I think the Wind and Cloud's number 1 personally, but this is up there, right? This is up there with these. And this one, Stringless Silence, is broken, right? It carries the speed run. But anyway, it's got a big grid, right? It's so big you can't even see it on this little square that they have. But if you catch an enemy, you pull it towards you, and that's cool, right? And then it drains their mana, and that's even cooler. So you're going to go before them, and then for each enemy that you drain, you get a refresh of 25% of your chi. So it's like you're not allowed to move. I get to go again, and the more enemies that surround me, I get to go again immediately. And on the extreme fight against the Villain Valley villains that are trying to stop you from, you know, these 2 characters from leaving the Villain Valley, like that's awful because all of them have Star Absorption Force. And so if you bring the whole squad and then you don't get to go first, you take a whole lot of damage before you even get a chance to move, and it's awful. And you get debuffed. It's an awful fight. But there's ways around it. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you have every single person in your squad with Star Absorption Force, like, and they just chain it over and over and over again, it's awful. Your enemy can't do nothing. Okay. Let's see another synergy. Well, actually, before we go to another synergy, I'm going to talk about Blazing Divination. So you get it from, where is this one? Blazing Divination, right? See how it's exclusive to certain characters, right? The main character, the hunter from the first village, the bandit with the sick wife, right? The beggar sect member who joined Villain Valley, the saber monk, and one of the characters from the fist user from the Perpetual Sanctum, right? Like, those are the only people that can learn this. You have to do like a side quest to complete it, because it's incomplete when you find it, and you can't rank it up all the way to 10 until you complete it, right? But it's worth doing, because when you use it, you get the Blazing Divinity buff. It increases your crit damage, right? So not the crit chance, but the damage potential. And you recover HP for every point of your Constitution stat when you trigger a critical hit. So if you do a crit on 5 different characters, right? You get 3 HP for every point of your Constitution. So this guy, so that's 600 for each crit that I did. So if I hit 5 people, that's 3,000 heal. That's pretty cool, right? And when you use the cultivation method, everything in that little square gets hit with a crit, and that's pretty cool. And when you trigger a critical hit, it will reduce the cooldown of your cultivation methods by 1 turn, which is great. And so like this is a strong one to have, and it's, you know, it's like any build for Weiho would probably need this, right? He needs it too, right? Like, it's like, why would you not? 82% chance to crit just passively, even without his crit buffs, right? What is it? His Dragon Palm Strike increases his crit rate by 10%. That's already 92%. Like, there's come on. So like, you can get absolutely cracked with like certain synergies, okay? And these are just like common ones. But I think 5 Balances Sutra, I don't typically do it too much, but there is another interesting idea you can do. Let's say you get this from the pirate side quest after the main part of the story where you see the pirates in the southern part of the map. You can go back there and help out the wheelchair man, the wheelchair detective. Where is he? I've got him on a party, don't I? Where is he? Did I skip him? Yeah, no, here he is. Right? You help him out again. And then you get the like you fight a pirate, and then he drops the manual for the 5 Balances Sutra. And it's pretty strong, but not as strong as the other stuff, which is why I don't have it on some of my characters. But let's say you have it on every single one of your party members, right? And everybody uses it their first turn, okay? And so now they all get the 5 Balance Sutra effect. And then so every time one of your characters attacks an enemy, they get defense down, okay? If they used a normal move, right? And if they don't use a normal move, but instead they used their special and mighty moves, then they get an attack, or they get a damage increase, right? And then their unique moves get a mana cost reduction, and it restores chi after they use lightness skills. So instead of 50% refresh, it's a 65%. And that's pretty cool. But so like, let's say your whole squad has this, and they all use it the first turn, so they all get the buff, and then everybody uses a normal move on one character. That character gets that defense decrease 4 different times. And then your last character uses their special or their mighty move. And so they get the 50% damage increase from their cultivation method. The enemy has gotten a every stack decreasing their defense by 5%. Right. And so that's a 25% on the enemy. So like that's another synergy you can have, right? Just have everybody outfitted with 5 balances. Like, that's kind of fun. I don't necessarily think there's a fight that requires you to do that, but like, that's like a thing you can do. So like, definitely read these cultivation methods. I've only talked about like some of them, but like, there's a lot of potential. A lot of new players as well. I suggest getting Yoga Sutras from the Precipice. If you have at least 50 agility and 3,000 hit points, and you're at full health, you will survive the jump off the mountaintop, and then you can get the little cave there and go to the Yoga Sutras in the chest. And then there's also a bed there so you can rest. All right, and that's pretty cool. And there's also a little fishing spot where you can get like dark wood. And like, that's, you know, good for newer players, because just slap Yoga Sutras on literally every character you're using, level it up, and then boom, everybody gets healing at the end of the turn. Golden Bell Cocoon is also a newer player one. Where's it at? Where's it at? Yeah, you get this from the Shaolin Temple. I know the main character can consult a lot of the people from Shaolin. I think one of them has it in their inventory, so just spar it and teach to everybody. That's another like newer player. Now these will get replaced with stuff later, right? Because like, why would I want Yoga Sutras if Evergreen Vitality is good enough, you know? And like these are competing. Like I lose so much damage if I don't have Infinite Force symbols on. If I don't have Cloud Form on, I lose so much reflection damage. If I don't have Wind and Cloud, I lose like so much damage, right? It's just and so much block, right? And this removes all your debuffs when you use it, and it heals you, and it does damage, and it increases your crit and your chi gathering, and it's just like it gives you so much good stuff, right? Like you don't want to lose it. So it's like, well, if I want a combo with my Yoga Sutra and my Evergreen Vitality, like I'm losing one of these three, right? So let's say I do yoga instead of Evergreen. Well, actually, I get less healing. So like these yellow stuff, like these are good for like newer and like earlier parts of the game, but typically you'll be replacing it with these red and orange techniques, and that's just, you know, how it is. But some characters won't even learn a red technique, and so like yeah, what's his best strategy? We'll probably just use Blazing Divination. Okay. Oh, also, before I forget, because I think I haven't mentioned this, see how this says, you know, Mental Sutra, every level increases your Meridian points, your hit points, and your max MP. Okay. So, I talked about you need to have, like, if I want the passive hit point and mana recovery for yoga, I have to equip it, right? But if I don't have it equipped, I don't get the passive. But when you level this up and you get your Meridian point increase, your hit point increase, and your MP increase, that is permanent. So even if I don't have any of these equipped, upgrading them will just increase your power level, right? You're now just stronger, right? More hit points, more mana. And so that's why I upgrade literally everything on the main character, just to get more stats. And then when you have, I think now we should talk about Meridian points, right? I've got everything all maxed out, and I got leftovers. I think with the new update, you can convert leftovers into raw stats, which is going to be a pretty cool, but at the time I'm recording this, you can't do that. But yeah, so let's look at our boy here. So typically, what you want to do with your points is go get this node here, Yindu. Go penetrating. You're going to have to get these three and then this one. But this is so important for every single one of my builds. I cannot fathom a run where I never take this. Right? It's just so good. And on every single character I want to use, I just use it. Okay? The 50% chance to take action again after attacking. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it happens all the damn time. And there's times where I've attacked 5 times in a row because I attack again, and I attack again, I attack again. Oh, my chi filled faster than theirs, and then I got so that's my 4th attack, and then it procced again, so that's my 5th attack, and then they're dead. And then I can go on to the next guy, and it's just, it's so much value just to have it. This is also a good one, taking an action again after you use your lightness skill. Because it kind of feels bad if you don't go, like if you do something but you don't attack or buff yourself or use a cultivation method or anything. So like, I typically don't use lightness skills, but they're really good at moving around the map, right? And then if I move again after using it, but again, if you have enough chi gathering and you refresh 50% of your bar because you used your skill, like this isn't as necessary. But this one, definitely want it. Okay? Conception, you're going to want This one right here, increase damage by 10%. That is huge. It's just a 10% damage increase. It's so simple, so elegant, so wonderful, right? But I think this is the most expensive one. Each node costs 300 to upgrade, and you only get the increased damage by 10% when it's maxed out, right? Notice how it says Constitution plus 10, Strength plus 10. You get that every time you put a point into it, but once it's maxed, then you get the 10% damage increase. So that's 900 points, right? And Meridian points are difficult to come by because you get them from cultivation methods. And, you know, I'm at the end of the game, right? On top of the mountain, and I've gotten all these books to read and stuff, right? So, you know, I've got all this potential stuff, but as you're leveling up and as you're building your characters and you're doing maybe your first or your second run, these are a premium, right? And they do gate your strength and kind of limit where you can go in the game. And it's actually a pretty interesting mechanism, because like you can have all these stats and all this stuff and learn these great techniques, right? But if you don't learn your cultivation methods and touch your acupressure points, right, you're just going to be outstanding and not unrivaled, you know? So let's talk more about which routes to go, right? I definitely want to take this one, Yindu. This is like priority number 1 most of the time, right? And then I want to fill out Conception. I typically skip this for later, but I'll go down here, get the Constitution and the Strength, and then get the has a chance to increase your attack by 15% for 3 turns. Like, after you end your turn, there's a chance you magically get this, and then you get a buff for 50% extra attack. You know, it's just a 1 in 4 chance. And then down here, increases healing effect by 20% on the battlefield. That will also stack with Yoga Sutra. But I would go down here, take this, go down here, take this. And then maybe this, but maybe you want to go to the other ones, depending on what your build is. This gives you Chi Gathering and Mana. So if you want to hit that, like right here now, he's got the 585, but if you want to hit that 1000, you want to put your points into here, right? This is a really good one as well. A 25% chance to just go first during the battle. And there's times when this decides the fight, because I get to go first, I get to do Star Absorption, or I go first, I use Stringless Silence and I debuff, or I go first and then I'm able to get the double damage from my Infinite Four Symbols, right? And then I've got Damage Reflection passively from my Cloud Form Tai Chi, right? Like, but if the enemy goes first and then they hit me with the Stringless Silence and now I'm debuffed, right? Like, this is an important one. Let's see what else. I typically don't like taking this one because it helps you when you're losing, right? And like the idea is, you know, your characters aren't dying, and if you're playing well, they're probably not going to die. So it kind of feels bad to take this one, but take this one instead, right? It gives you Chi Gathering, that's great, and you get 300 Chi when you kill an enemy. So when you've got, you know, a boss surrounded by trash, and then you clear out the trash to reduce the, you know, damage of the fight, well, that's great, because now your characters get to move before the boss again, because everybody, you know, that you're using has this, right? And then they're all getting Chi because you're killing enemies. This is one that's also pretty good. And then this is pretty nasty. So a 10% chance to prevent the target from using skills other than normal moves. So they can't use their cultivation techniques, no lightness skills, none of that, right? Just their normal move. And it's a 10% chance. It happens sometimes, but if everybody in your squad has this, and then everybody does an attack, that's 5 chances of this 10%, right? and it's probably gonna hit, right? So my priority would be to like dip into this tree, get this one, get this and this, dip in down here, and then maybe you go here, right? And then depending on your weapon, if you've got a saber, you want this. Saber builds light crit, and this gives you attack and crit. And the reason why sabers like crit, let me pull it up. I believe it's this one, yeah, encompassing saber play. Hold on, or is it thunderclap and slash? Right. So the thunderclap slash. So you get an effect when you enter battle or use this move, okay? And then any move that deals critical hits will decrease the cooldown of your unique moves, and the duration of this effect by 1 turn, okay? So basically, if you use this, so when you enter battle, you get this, and then when you crit, you reduce the cooldown on this by 1 turn. And so it starts off with 4 turns on cooldown, right? So let's say you crit on your first turn. Well, now it goes to 2, right? And you can use these earlier. And so like if you're doing a saber build, you'll want to crit. And so you want to do something like Dizui with Blazing Divination, and then just having Thunderclap slash equipped. You know, so you passively get it, right? Yeah. Let me see. Is there anything? Yeah, and on him. Boom. I just went. Right. We dipped into get this one. Right. We got this stuff. I didn't take this. I should have. I guess for him, I wanted increased healing. I wanted the synergy with this and the Blazing Divination. I think that's why I took this instead of this. But I should have taken that too. And penetrating. Boom. Right? Start of the battle, 50%. Like, and I've only got 10 points. Can he actually learn anything else? Let me check. No, he can't learn that. Can't learn that. Oh, he can learn this one. No, he can't learn that. He doesn't know how to play music. Oh my goodness. Trash. Yeah, then level up. Yeah, so he gets a few more points. Right, he gets about 460. It's not enough though, I think. Yeah, I need 600 to max it out. But you get what I'm saying, right? When you're building your characters, you want to dip into these trees, and those are like a good idea. Some things that people will do is they'll go into the governing vessel to get defenses, and I think you get better defenses by going to Conception, and you unlock these better offensive stuffs. Girdle also gives you bonuses to reduce, like this one right here. It nullifies the damage bonus enemies get when they attack you from the side or from the back, and that's pretty good. And this will decrease the accuracy bonus of 50%. And so these can also be kind of defensive. They also give you a flat movement increase, right? So, you know how I talked about points of agility give you extra movement, right? This girdle also gives you flat movement on some of these nodes, and the lightness skills will also, if you know Swan Steps, it gives you bonus movement tile. So like everybody can like learn all this stuff except for Wheelchair Man. He can't learn lightness skills at all, you know, on account of his legs. But yeah, he's only got 3, but he's only got 100 points of agility. Now, if I, you know, pumped him with the girdle, right? Now he's got 5 movement, right? That's like he got 2 just from this. So crazy. I'm kind of running out of stuff to talk about, I think. for newer players. I talked about consult, didn't I? Okay, right. Only the main character can consult. Okay. And you can only consult when they reach a certain affection level with the like, so affinities, right? So like higher affinities, right? You can learn better things. So go around the world, find people, and just like bar them. You know what? I'm gonna go do that right now. I'm gonna go find somebody in the open world. We're gonna look at them. Let's go to Gusu. Here's somebody. Hello, friend. Observe, right? He's got all these goodies. If I win the spar, I get a chance to get one of these things, right? But he won't spar with me because we're not friends. Well, that's fine. He's an expert. That's okay. Let's find what he likes. You know what? Let's give him an amethyst. I got plenty of those. Now that we're at least 20, right, we can start sparring and taking the stuff in his inventory. If it said consult down here, I could learn a martial art from him, but he's just an NPC that I can't really consult from. But hey, let's spar with him. Hit him with my palm. Okay, there we go. Right, we got some floral tea and this tea. I could keep sparring with him and take everything and run his pockets, right? And so when you want to get things from people in the overworld, right, get them to 20, steal everything from their pockets, right? And I'm not worrying about giving him the mythical amethyst because I can just spar him and get it back. I don't know how long it'll take, but I'll get it. Right? And it's random that I get. He can keep it. He can keep it. But yeah, it's basic. Actually, I'll do one more. All right. Oh, I did take everything. Okay. But yeah, I can learn Saber Place from him, right? And so like consulting, right? We're friendly enough. I can learn green moves from him. Doesn't really, not really special. But if I wanted to learn an orange or better move, I would have to fight him and win the fight. If you're on expert, it's yellow and above. All right. Here we go. Just keep punching. I'm holding back. I'm not even going to use my cultivation technique. And look at him. Alright, I might have to use my cultivation technique to make it go faster. Right? I can't take all the time on YouTube. Here we go. See, Wind and Cloud is just so good. So much damage. And yep, now I learned a new saber play technique. Yeah. Where is it? Oh yeah, here. And then we go to saber. Right? I learned it. And then let's learn it so that we get more defense against sabers. Right? Yeah. So also look to the Discord in for Wandering Sword. And I'll be in there and I'll be answering questions, and there's also other people that are better than me in the Discord as well, and they'll help you out, answer your questions. But hopefully this helps newer players with how do I build a character, what's good stuff, what should I prioritize, right? Actually, you know what? Before I go, I will explain the build. I'll explain a build. Yeah. Okay. So this build is what you want to put on your main character, and you know what? Yeah. So this build is what you want on your main character, right? You max this out, right? And you've got the regalia, right? The sword, the Tai Chi diagram, and the robe. and the demon mask because you're so late in the story, right? Your boots are kind of whatever, right? I've got a tier 3 boots on and I'm fine. But you could get more defense and evasion if you upgrade your boots. But what this sword will do will increase the damage of all Wudang sword plays and cultivation methods by 50%. That's great. That includes infinite force symbols, right? You're immune to lame and enfeebled, so those are 2 statuses. They can't mess with you. Lame makes it so that you can only use normal moves, and then enfeebled, I think, doesn't let you move. And then every 100 points of max MP increases damage of all Wudang martial arts by 0.2%. So we've got 13360, 100 points. So 133 times 0.2, whatever that is, like that's boom, bonus damage. That's a lot of bonus damage, right? So you want this. And then with your sword techniques, right, you get the Wudang sword play to increase the damage of your Wudang stuff. And then you do 5 immortals, right? Right. So you attack with 5 immortals to heal you for 100 hit points every time you hit a target. Yeah. And let's see. You want Yin Yang sword play because it's a Wudang sword play. Also, Vibrant Cloud is pretty good because it gives you deft. So you're going to use like one of these 2. I wasn't sword build before, but I'm building it now for the video. Yeah. Okay, mighty moves, right? Qing Fang, that's a Wudang move, right? You put it in. Teal Water is pretty good because you're going to have a lot of evasion, but you could also replace it with like Poison Dragon. Well, yeah, we'll replace this with Poison Dragon. Dragon Roar is pretty good too. Actually, we'll do this, right? Typically, you want the Wudang sword plays and use them. If the enemy is poisoned because you're using the Polis Snake Sword and doing the poison build for your sword, you want to do Poison Dragon. Dragon Roar does internal damage. That's pretty, strong. If you have Sword Chi on, which you will, if you got the Mingjing sword play. But anyway, and so for unique moves, what you want is the Coral Snake if you're doing the poison build, but if you're doing the Wudang build, honestly, I like Ape Scale, so I equip it, but typically you're going to be using Tai Chi, right? Because if you have Tai Chi equipped, right, you get your bonus sword mastery and you buff up Cloud Form Tai Chi, right? But when you're attacking, you're probably going to do the sword intent because it does more damage for each 100 max mana that you have, and we've got a whole lot of max mana, so it's going to be dealing a lot of damage. So this is our main ultimate move damage, right? But we're going to have Tai Chi equipped because it synergizes with Cloud Form. For lightning skills, Wind Rider, you get that from the DLC from Nanjing, but if you don't have it, Ghostly Shadow is pretty good. And so is Fox Form Steps. And even if you don't have these, Wudang is alright, lightweight. Has a chance to give you bonus movement, right? Yeah, so like this one I always pretty much use because of the heal when you move around and stuff, and the concentrate and the def buff when you use it is pretty good. Okay, now let's go to the cultivation methods, right? So Wind and Cloud, all the awesome buffs, right? Infinite Force symbols, when you use it, you get a stack of 4 stacks of Limitless, okay? And then when you get attacked, there is a 50% chance you trigger your limitless, and then you lose a stack to deal reflect damage. Okay? But for every single stack that you have, you get a 25% attack boost. So 4 stacks times 25% is 100%. You are literally doubling your damage by pressing this one button. Okay? Then you clear debuffs too, but it's whatever. You start the fight with this. Okay? And before you have Cloud Form, it's not as strong because there's a 50-50 chance you lose your damage stack, right? But if you have Cloud Form equipped, there is a 90% chance you do not consume the limitless stack. Not 50. Right? So, like, 9 times out of 10, you keep your stack. And, like, you get to keep your double damage. Instead of 175%, it's now 100%. You know, like, it's crazy. It's crazy, right? So, if you have Cloud Form Tai Chi, which you get from the Wudang Regalia side quest, right, at the Forbidden Zone, you want to equip Infinite Force Symbols. And at the start of the fight, press the button, you're dealing double damage. It's insane. And Cloud Form, there's a lot of stuff, right? When you use it, you clear debuffs, right, which is great. You get the Guanyuan buff, which, you know, drains from your mana instead of your health for a bit of it. So it's like, you know, helps you be tanky, right? And then when you lose the Guanyuan, you deal damage to enemies around you, which that's all right. But I typically don't press this button. I press this button and this button. But, you know, it's nice to have the passive there. And like it just decreases the chances from critical hit, or decrease the damage taken from enemy crits by 30%. And when you have limitless on, right, like I said before, 90% chance to not consume it. And it also increases the limitless damage by 100%. And it expands the damage reflection to 24 grids around you in like the little, it's not really a square, but it's let me get to a fight real quick. Okay, so like here he is at the center. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20, and then 21 22 23 24. So it's like in this little, that's actually, yeah, so this is a 24 grid. The stuff that's in yellow, that's the 24 grid that they're talking about. All right. So like, while you have this up, if an enemy is in that grid and you get attacked, right, you just reflect damage to them. That's pretty cool. Okay. And it also has synergies with the other stuff like Tai Chi Marvel Force and Guanyun. But typically, you want to press the Infinite Force Symbols button. And so either have muscle changing scripture or evergreen vitality, right? And these will these are going to be your healing, right? Because this one heals you for 20% and it gives you mana, and it clears debuffs, which is all right, and it gives you 3 stacks of vitality when you press the button. So like, let's say they just got rid of all your stacks, you press the button, you got half your stacks back. Okay. Muscle changing scripture, this doesn't give you the mana restore, but it heals, recovers your hit points by 35%, and it clears every single debuff, not just a few. And like when you press this button, you get a buff that heals you for 8% and restores mana by 8% every turn. And that lasts for 4 turns. So over time, you get a 32%. So by pressing the button, you heal immediately for 35, and then you heal for 32. So that's like a 67% total, right? And then if you have it equipped, you get bonus stats of internal power and constitution by 35, right? And then it also has the extra life, right? When you would die, it restores 35% HP, clears every single debuff, and it gives you Vajra protection for 3 turns. And so like Vajra protection nullifies damage 1 time. So, you know, doesn't matter how powerful their attack is, it gets nullified. Except for the final boss of Perpetual Sanctum. He has a move that gets through Vajra protection. Like a passive. And you know, so he doesn't care about it. So yeah, there's builds and stuff. I could talk about more of them, but I'm gonna wrap this up. But before I do, see how this says like Shaolin Temple, right? Wudang, Beggar Sect, Wudang, Shaolin Temple. Typically the stuff from the same school will have synergies, right? So I know the Shaolin will have they've got the Dragon Claws, which pulls you forward. They've got the Palm that repulses the enemy back. They've got a technique that gives you the Vajra protection. When you use it on the ultimate technique, you get Vajra protection when you push the enemy back. So like that's a really strong build. But, you know, you can't use it against the final boss of Perpetual Sanctum, but you can use it on pretty much everyone else. Right? And so like there is stuff, but you have to read what's going on. But typically, if it's from the same school, there's going to be a synergy there. And yeah, there's some synergies in between schools as well. But when you're starting out, right, try and stay within the same school. Okay? Yeah, this is a lot longer than I thought it would be, but you know, I just kept yapping, I guess. But thank you so much for watching. All right, remember, like, comment, subscribe. If there are questions about the game, put it in the comment section. I'll try and answer it when I can. Hopefully, this is like evergreen content, and like no matter when this is in the game's life cycle, right? Because like it's released, but they're updating it, right? And they're adding new stuff, right? So hopefully, you know, years from now, when people are revisiting this game or whatever, and there's maybe been 2 or 3 extra story DLCs, right? This foundation is still there, right? This is the important stuff that you need to get, and this is like the basic building blocks for the build, right? Maybe the builds themselves change, or there's a better one that comes out, but like the building blocks will be there, right? And that's the hope with this video. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Bye.